Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can create this adorable, cute baby panda holding onto a piece of bamboo with some cherry blossoms blowing by. I realize that might not be good gardening or factually true, but I love the combo. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He's going to be tracking me with the cameras, making sure that you can see all the action so it's easier for you to create that at home. And he's going to be taking your questions during the show. Boom. If you check down in the description below, I have hidden all the materials and links to all the extra education.
You're so sneaky by
I'm
putting
so
links.
Sneaky. However, you can get around me. You can escape the description. If you just click the more button, it's going to open up. There's about 50,000 characters in there, and I use every one of them almost every show. It's going to be a link to our website, and it's really special because on our website is a whole bunch of extra learning materials to help you. There's a brushstroke practice and video. There's technique information. There's a step-by-step infographic you can share. There's just a lot of stuff. It will really help you succeed at this, to get the colors, to get everything. So if there's any area where you're feeling stuck, check that out, because chances are it's going to be that little push to help you really succeed. I'm so excited about it. And I'm so excited that we're finally painting the panda because we tried to do it earlier and then it got rescheduled. And this is live. Hi. You guys ready to kind of hop on in?
Yes.
Hop on in today? All right.
I'm ready.
So he's on a 11 by 14 canvas board. And put this over here so I can. There's a visual problem I have in my studio. Now, I don't expect you guys to draw him in any way, simply because I recognize that when you start out on your art journey, drawing may not be your skill. I highly recommend taking it up. It's a lot of fun. If it's not, of course, there's a traceable for that, and I will show you how to transfer that on the canvas today. We have our 11 by 14 canvas board. I wouldn't say that stretch canvas or board one is better than the other in this case. It's just for my storage issue because of thousands of paintings now. This is better. Jessica has some wishes. We have wishes all over the canvas, but we start out with Jessica. So we have some wishes for her newborn to just be in beautiful health. And Aislinn, we have relief for pain and nausea. And actually, in general, I wish relief in our community from pain. Carol was wishing for a dog to be home and safe. Was bravely saving the family from wildlife. Lydia, also another lost pet, to come home and to be safe, and she crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and she just wants her to be okay and happy and know that she's all right. And then Jacob, we are wishing that he is home and healthy. A little scare. So we're wishing we saw that in the Facebook group that he's wishing he's home.
Yeah.
So weird morning. Good morning.
Yeah. Big art hugs to all of our friends out there who have their furry pets who've had some loss. I know that Jay and Julie also had recently a loss of their furry loved one. So, big hugs to all you guys. We know that's an important thing. So.
Oh, that's a good one for this particular painting. Let's wish that all of the lost pets return home, and all of his wonderful companions who's crossed the Rainbow Bridge are up in kitty and doggy and hamster and fishy and lizard and birdie heaven.
Playing on clouds, fetching balls.
Not having to deal with us silly humans and our problems. Oh my. All right. So over here for the background, I have put out the colors I'm going to need to begin. I'll put out the rest of the colors once I get started. I'm going to show you some tricks that I like to do. Like you like to do.
You're so tricky.
I'm so tricky. I'm so tricky. It's tricky to rock around. Okay, I'm not going to do that. That's not appropriate.
It's totally appropriate. You're a product of that music.
Okay. I have this water bottle, and I'm going to mist my canvas. Don't over mist the canvas. What I'm doing is I'm creating a slicker surface, a moist surface for my acrylic to glide over. Acrylic can be thinned with water, but you don't want to overdo it because then your paint can underbind. However, a little bit of this goes a long, long way. And especially if you're using watercolor or chalk to put wishes on your canvas. I'm going to use this big brush to just brush these wonderful words.
Serious Sherpa says, missed your canvas.
Missed your canvas. Who's Serious Sherpa? Am I Serious Sherpa?
Oh, no, we were just dancing, and then you got all serious, and we're like,
Oh,
missed
sorry.
your canvas.
No, first of all, That's crazy talk. I am never that serious. You know what I'm saying? That's not even going to be a thing. I am going to use today, I think, I want this mid-size little brush that I've got here. So I'm going to be using this number 26 Bright. It's got a short handle. If you're at a table or in bed or any place that's confined and you're sitting, not standing in an easel, you may prefer a short handle. I mean, I love my long handles, but you may prefer that. I'm going to dip my brush in water, drag off the extra, and I'm going to get the white loaded in my brush. Now, I want you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to go dip, and I pull out this little landing strip, and you'll notice that I flip and dip, flip. There you go. What that's going to do is that puts paint through all of my brush and allows me to go a little bit farther with the pigment that I have. And so sometimes when you're new, it's really hard to know what to even do with the paint plops, right? Like it's hard to know where you get the paint from, how you use it. I really recommend, I see a lot of people do this corner thing, dipping in the paint plop. And the only thing about that is it wastes your paint because you're getting pigment where you don't want it. You want to control where your pigment is. The reason I'm brushing the canvas white is that I want to make sure that we get a nice kind of pastel aspect. And I have found this method helps beginners do a little better, you know, on getting their pastels. Here we go. I hope you guys love the new supplemental materials. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see it's just, I'm making sure that I've got a nice slick surface. If I had one of those canvases that was fighting paint, it has stopped and given up. Now I'm going to put a little pink here and a little pink here, and then I'm going to put some bright green through here. So how I'm going to do that is first, I'm going to get a little of my pink on my brush, just a smidge. See how I'm coming to the edge of this? I'm sneaking in. Sneaking in. Oh, that was sneaking in. See, sneak, sneak, sneak. And I'll still get a little white on here. I want a bright pink that will hold my background, and I'm going to come brush diagonally in just a few inches. And look at this little sweepy stroke. Isn't that fun? This is going to help me when I'm putting in the implied cherry leaves, which I have actually no reference photos of bamboo and cherry together. So yes, if you're a gardener or somebody that specializes in the care of these either a particular tree and you're like, they don't live in the same soil, I kind of gathered that, but then I realized it's my painting, and if I feel like my baby panda lives in a preserve that has both bamboo and cherry trees in the same space, it's my make-believe world, and I did that. So can you see how I'm coming right here and I'm going, I do this little soft back and forth with the bristles right there. This helps soften this line so much. So easy to blend. It's just really a great joy. Now I'm going to rinse this out thoroughly. Thoroughly rinse it out.
And one of the things we're doing today is helping raise awareness for St. Jude, right?
We are absolutely on it for St. Jude today. And you have pandas to tell, and you've got stuff to do. I am here getting a little bit of my green into my yellow because I have to do this wet into wet. I'm not interrupting John.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I just have to hurry. So see how I'm getting this very bright green right here? Then I can come in and just lightly brush this. And the reason I was in a hurry is I wanted to catch both of my edges while they were still wet, so I could get a nice blend between them. There's some extra stuff on the website about this technique.
Oh, yeah. And you've got all those little pamphlets that help download and
work
show
pages,
this.
practice pages.
Practice pages. That's what I was looking for.
In your art guide. Look how far this color is going, John.
It's really
And then when we get to the end of this, we'll do the total St. Jude shout out.
Oh, no. I wanted to mention that because I brought up the little menu up at the top of the screen. So I didn't want to just bring it up unannounced.
Oh, no, I get it. And I appreciate it so much. And I don't want you to feel like I'm interrupting.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Trying to catch a wet edge here and let you guys know what I'm doing before it's all gone. So now I have kind of this lovely, lovely little background. And look how soft it is. Isn't that nice? Isn't that soft? Just, ooh. Now I'm going to sip my coffee and let John do his thing because I am a huge fan of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Huge, 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 huge.
Oh, I was just letting everybody know that all this month we've been supporting St. Jude. And I pulled out, we got our little graphic pulled up there.
5,448. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So this is pretty exciting. Now I've got some things that I'm going to be doing for the community because we raised so much money. I'm gonna paint a ATC. That's and we're gonna do a video of it. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it. Probably not gonna be doing it live, only because of time.
And also because John has stage fright.
Well, I
that
do,
would exacerbate it beyond all reason.
Yeah.
It would not. It would just be like.
It would just be some hands standing there rubbing each other. Ooh, no.
And then Sherpa hands would come in and be like, puppet them. Look, I'm painting. It's so fun. So there's that.
there would be Sherpa hands, stunt hands. Let's
say how bad it is. John was supposed to do the April Fools last year, and Spider out of pity did it for him.
Yeah. He was like, no, Dad, I think I could do this more. And I was like, really? You want to do it? And then it turned into, it went from Dad has stage fright to no, Spider's gonna do it. And then it was like a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing, and it was a good blessing.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
So we said if we got to $5,000, I would do a Bob Ross video where I follow a tutorial and I use the kit and I paint the project. And I don't paint oil. So that's fine. And we're still deciding how we're going to pick the image. I don't know. I might have you guys vote on it or something in the group, in the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group. It's the TheArtSherpa official Facebook group. There's a page. It's a group. Awesome. Just still sipping my coffee. All right. So I know some of you guys are painting on live, so that's why I'm coffee breaking, because I'm like, I gotta go. I'm going to try this, which again, if you're painting along live, right, gives you another little chance, a little minute to sort of like catch up and have a breath and not be so crazed. I'm sure when I'm following Bob, because I'm going to try to do it like old school style, like before there was a VCR, I'm going to try to keep up. So I could be crazy. Here's John.
Let me see. Okay. So, thank you guys. I want to thank you for coming and hanging out today while we were painting this awesome panda and saying thank you to St. Jude. And, on a Friday morning, it's pretty awesome to look out there and have all my community and these wonderful faces chatting with me while Cinnamon is hair drying. And that makes me very happy because I would be very lonely if you guys were not here. And Cinnamon would be very unhappy because we would have no one to paint with. So thank you for coming and being part of this wonderful community. We love, love, love having you. And it's just so wonderful. So I was just saying I love having everybody out here.
It is fun.
It's I know I keep saying I and me because I love having them here. It's just so satisfying to look out there and see all their smiling faces and chatting with me.
Let's be honest, the host is the coolest. Mom's just here teaching art. John's the cool one. He's got the good radio voice, little dulcet sounds.
I don't know what
totally
you're
gets the
about.
vibe. Plays video games with y'all. He's the cool one.
No, I think.
Now,
please don't do that to me.
Don't do it. Panic attack, anxiety,
I'm gonna fix the camera, guys.
All rolled up into one. I'm looking for my. Oh, there they are. Move them over here. So, is everything okay? On the website, I take you guys through blocking out the panda, and you have a special like that measurement traceable, so you can do that. So I explain all that to you on the website. You go there, it's just a little video, and I tell you how to block that in. For those of you that are tracing it on, I'm going to demo that here on YouTube. So first, I like to put my traceable on my paper. I really love tracing paper as an art tool. There are economy versions of it. It's not like particularly pricey on its own, but there are even economy versions of it. And the idea of this is that I work very hard to create a design on my practice paper, my inexpensive media. And then when I'm ready to put that on my canvas where I want my work to be a little more together, that saves me ruining a lot of canvas. And I'm just using low-tack tape here. Now, this is Cerl paper. And Cerl paper, you want to put the brighter side down. Comes in a bunch of colors. I just happen to have the roll of yellow. And you can get a pack, a sheet pack. That's in the description below, a link to that on Amazon, so you can check that out. But you're certainly welcome to shop it around and see who's got it and all of that. I am going to come them down a little bit because I can freehand those little ears in and just tape this down. So now that it's all taped down, I'm going to trace over this with a sharp pencil or pen. If you don't have Ceril paper today, you can rub the back of this with either a pencil, making a graphite rubbing on the back side of it, and then transfer those graphite lines on. And even kids' chalk or pastels will work too, but not oil pastels. Don't use that. All right, let's get this traced on. So I'm just blocking in shapes here. Getting those little concepts in. Drawing on a canvas is just not quite the same as when you draw on paper. There's just a different set of requirements because I'll be painting over all of my lines. Basic shapes and directionalities are what I'm looking for as an artist. Sometimes I give you guys even a little more than you need just because I know it's comforting. But the truth is that when we paint, we take out all this fine work. So it's a different type of drawing and laying out than when you see somebody really working a pencil or charcoal proficiently. So if you have some feelings about drawing, reserve your judgment on this because it's not really the same requirements of you. And certainly tracing is no requirements of you except having a good time and enjoying yourself and laughing with your friends.
Yes.
Yay. Rough panda paw. Panda. I love my panda.
I like pandas. They're the most fashionable of bears.
Oh, my. I know that you should not pet them, and they are a wild animal that can eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cute.
They are.
I bet that happens to them a lot. They're like busy trying to be ferocious in the forest, eating their little leaves, looking cute and fluffy, and everything keeps petting them. And they're like, man, I'm going to eat all this stuff because that's not cool. No touching. No touching.
So,
probably like
right.
Snow Monkeys, the no touching crew. All right, I think
I'll tell you a panda
in.
joke. How about that?
Huh?
Can I tell you a panda joke?
You can.
I've got a panda joke for Nina. And so this is a really easy one though. How many pandas does it take to change a light bulb?
How many pandas does it take to change a light bulb?
The pandas will get back to you when they find some clothes in the light bulb size.
What? What? I'm so confused.
Because they have to change the light bulb. They're going to change its clothes.
Oh.
They have to go find some clothes in its size.
I did not track that. Nobody make fun of me. Well, I mean, it's YouTube. Go ahead and make fun of me. I don't really care.
It's a dad joke. Maybe it was,
Let's see if I manage to get this on there this time. Wow, is that light? That is light. And so that's why this paper comes in different colors. It comes in like a red and a blue and a white and a yellow. I find that the red and the blue can bleed into my acrylic paint. And so that's not totally my favorite. Here, I'll do this so you guys can loosely see where I can see the traceable, but there's just no way the camera's going to catch what's going on here at all. So I'm just making sure I've got these little basic lines that you might have. I got to have a little paw coming in and another little paw coming here and a little bamboo. Bamboo is super cute. Isn't bamboo cute? I love bamboo. I don't know. No, my feelings on bamboo are not that strong. No, actually, I think bamboo is just. Look, I get that it's a weed, and in the United States, it's probably going to be like.
I like bamboo.
I do too. It's just very aggressive agriculturally, I think.
That's true. So you're just sketching in all those little bits there?
Yes, I'm just making sure that some of this is a little visible for you guys, like as I'm doing it. I don't think it will change the overall aspect of the drawing very much. What? There's this weird squiggle there I don't understand. I'm like, apparently I had a moment right there. So hopefully that helps this show up a bit for you guys, where you can see what's afoot. Hopefully. I'm getting everything lined up over here. Again, I think we're ready to get the next little segments in. So the next part I'm going to do is, if you're following the infographic step-by-step, the next part I'm going to do is the bamboo and some of the background leaves, because it's a really good time to be able to put them in and have just, a little bit of fun with it. So what I'm going to do first is I will get, I will
We
demo on
can't
a
we can't see you digging through your
bright.
brushes.
Yes, I'm going to demo on a bright. I have grabbed a number 8 Ruby Satin, and I'm going to pull out my quinacridone that I have here. You can add a little bit of yellow to it if you want to help it pop against the background. It can be kind of fun and helpful. I'm going to make sure there's a little white in it because I want it to feel pink. And I'm going to go ahead and put some leaves in now. See how I press the stroke in and pull it back? Now we have a little video on the brush stroke too on the website. And if you're like, yeah, but how much is that? Oh, it's fine. It's free. It's totally free. You just go there and sign up and you'll have access to all those resources. And I'm just making sure that I've got a nice little arrangement of leaves, and they're going to tuck a little bit. It's nice when they peek out from things, so that's what I'm doing. See, I'm just randomizing each of these strokes. And it's really about that placement, right? It's really about pressing that corner in and, got a drip going there. Too much water. And now I'm going to get a little more white loading up. And you can see it's just lighting it. And then I'm going to take the light pink and drop a couple of these around. I might need to go a lot lighter over my pink background so that they kind of show up a bit. And that'll be like the challenge is how do we get these to show up? Making sure that, ooh, I'm going to have to get a lot of white on there. They're going to be very light today. There we go. We see them now. Ha 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 ha. I had a plan. You didn't know I had a plan. All right. So now I have these implied dropping cherry leaves. I'm going to rinse this out. And I'm going to put out my burnt sienna, my black, and my ochre. So let's put those out. This is my burnt sienna. And then this is my yellow ochre. And I can put in a titch of my black now because I'll be doing that at the joints of the bamboo. I'm going to get my 26 back out. Now, I'm going to paint out some of what I sketched on, but I know where it's going to be. If you're painting at home and you're like, look, if I paint out that paw, I'm never going to find it again, just paint carefully around it. But I do find it's easy to do these long brush strokes in one sweep. So that's why I totally encourage it. The first layer of the bamboo that we're going to do is a little bit of the burnt sienna. You can see I'm doing the flip pull, flipping and pulling. And then I'm getting right into my green, back and forth, having a good time. All right. So just making these nice long little strokes, coming down and making my bamboo. I can come to the outside and paint that in. And again, if you wanted to draw it in and all of that, that's all on the website. So don't feel like we didn't get that. I feel like I want that to be a little more green than I have it. So I'm going to make it a little more green than I have it. It's not really a big deal because this is the underpainting of the bamboo.
Yeah.
And everything is built up on top of it.
Well, it's really important to be able to take a step back and see the forest from the trees. Pandas have a particular problem with that. You know that?
Do pandas have do you know who you're telling the jokes for today?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, this particular joke.
We had people that at certain levels, if you donate, then you get jokes.
So this particular joke's for Carly Joe.
Is this for Carly Joe?
Yeah, and did you know that pandas can't see the forest to the trees? Because it's very easy for them to get bamboozled.
Oh. First of all, who's picking on all these pandas? I feel like these are very anti-panda jokes.
No, pandas are my spirit animal, so I feel like I can,
That's true. That's true. I would say out of the two of us, I live more like a panda than you do.
I don't know about that.
You play a panda. And even the panda you play, he's a bit of an action panda. We got to finish that painting of him soon.
I would like that.
Would you like that? Would you think that was good?
I would enjoy it.
So you can see I just got this all painted in. I'm using these long strokes. And that kind of implies something which is really helpful and is going to let me kind of continue that space in a way that I appreciate. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little black paint. I'm going to put it kind of on the edge right now. This is actually going to be just a place mark. But I'm going to come right up here to the little cheek and I'm going to make a little bamboo line. And then I'm going to come down to, I want it to be above or below the foot. So let's see, the foot is, I'm just going to check my foot placement. So I'll put the other little bamboo stripe right there. All right, so I've got those in. I'm going to dry with a hair dryer. John's going to tell you about the fabulous work that the men and women of St. Jude do to cure illness in children, not just here, but all over the world, and about how they don't ever charge a family a single solitary penny. All right, John, you go.
Okay. So, that button. So, yeah, St. Jude's Hospital is St. Jude Hospital. Just want to make sure it's because it's St. Jude Hospital, and sometimes I say St. Jude's Hospital pronunciation. Anyway, these folks, any of the kids who go to this hospital and their families, they never pay a dime. The hospital totally covers all of the medical care, all of the doctor's visits, and takes care of the families as well as while they're there. They're really committed to care of these children and to the fighting of these diseases which rob these children of their precious youth. So among many, many things, but these doctors and the well-being that the hospital provides is unmeasurable compared to the dollars and cents that we can give them. So thank you guys very much for everything that you do to help us support them. We really appreciate it, and I just can't say enough thank you.
And I just have some good news for you guys. If you're checking the overall goal, because this is many, many, many people coming together. Like, we're on a team. It's the Derp Squad, and it has many members. Some of them are on my ATC design team. If you follow the hashtag Derp Squad or you follow the hashtag Play Live, you can see some of them. I know Melody and May are coming on to do some stuff. Our team is actually doing amazingly well. But overall, St. Jude's is winning because they have already raised like way over $1 million on their $1.5 million goal total in the creator community. So I just want to thank every other creator who did this. I just love you guys for it because it is the greatest work that you could do. And if you are a creator and you participated, thank you. And if you're a creator and you want to participate, man, come on board next year. This is the best thing that you'll do on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, anywhere. You'll love it. All right. That's my soapbox.
Well,
I'm going to rinse out my brush. Kind of wipe it off because I don't want it to get a little bit crazy. And I'm going to do my next brighter bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to get a little of my ochre and my green together. And I'm going to start working my little joint. And you see how I'm working this through? And I'm going to come here and I'm going to apply the first lightening of my joint. You guys see how that's lightening the joint a little bit? I really like painting bamboo. So expect to have a minute with this because it's actually something I really, really, really love to paint. I've got that in. I like that. I'm going to come get a little of my cad yellow and get it mixed in with my phthalo green. And this is going to make a bamboo green. So really love this color. And I'm going to start brushing this in to that like kind of little lightened ochred area. There's going to be one more little pass on it, but it just makes it kind of like a little bit fun. We're just making this bright, bright, bright colored. And that's what you want. You want your brightly colored bamboo. This is healthy bamboo, right?
Yeah. You know, I want to let you know something. Sometimes you don't get to see the chat, but we have a whole classroom of Virginia sweeties painting along with us today, watching what you're doing.
Really?
Really enjoying this. So thank you guys for joining us today. We love
seeing you. Oh my gosh, hi! I think that's so awesome that you're painting. I'm supposed to be teaching this, but I just want you to know I think it's really awesome that you're painting.
So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for having, art in the classroom. Whoever organized that, thank you. I think the arts are very, very, very important.
We got a couple dreamers out here thinking big thoughts.
I think we need them. We need the dreamers. And, even if you're going to be an engineer, a mathematician, a doctor, somebody in the sciences, the arts, being able to paint, it helps you. It helps you deal with the stress of your future careers, and it helps you think more innovatively. Which, if you're trying to help save somebody's life or engineer a bridge or tunnel or come up with a new algorithm, being imaginative is a superpower you want in today's competitive market.
Yeah.
So that's how you tell your parents why you got to take some art class in school, because you want to be competitive in today's aggressive market. You say those words, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you need art education." Okay. Sorry. Their teacher's probably cracking up right now. All right. So I'm pulling more yellow into this mix. I want to make a brighter color, a much brighter green. See how we're just adding. This is almost, that reminds you of that spring green that happens when leaves just pop out. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the mix. How you do. See, I'm adding a little bit of white. That'll change it up from everything around it slightly. And then we're going to just very carefully, we're going to come in, we're going to just start to brush. And this is a dry brush. See how I'm just very lightly dry brushing?
Yeah. Now you're making the segments of the bamboo.
I am now making segments of the bamboo, because I like me some bamboo segments.
It's actually a giant grass, I think.
Yes.
It's big.
It's a monocotyledon, not a dicotyledon. See? Artists and science. We happy.
You learned it did something today.
No, it's just because I got to draw a lot of trees.
But no
and grass,
English.
and I was like, this is the best science class I've ever been in.
I remember that. I actually really remember that course. You were just like, I'm drawing all the plants.
All of them. I don't know whatever else is happening here, but I got a drawing component, and I'm going to go for it.
She was like, I might become a botanist.
But then I didn't. I'm going to get a lot more green on. And get a little more green on. I'm going to come and just make sure maybe I brush a little bit here and there. I'm coming around the outer edges.
I wonder how many other people have been lured into botany by the art.
I hope a bunch.
They're like, wait, I get to draw plants? I'm going to be a botanist.
See me loosely brushing this next layer. Doesn't that make it look more grassy? Little grass. So what you want this to have is these lighter areas where the segments are going to be. You want it to have that sort of textural, fibrous surface. The dry brushing gets you there. And the whole thing about dry brushing is actually key in the word, in that the brush is dry. So if you don't add a lot of water or medium to your paint, when it goes across the canvas, it's going to leave a bunch of the pattern. And that's a really wonderful effect that you can get as an artist. Now we've got to work these little joints, and they're fun to work. I'm not even going to rinse my brush. That's how much of a rebel I am. I'm going to go right into my brown. And I'm going to come at the joint. I'm just going to pull out a little bit of this brown. And pull out a little bit of this brown. See how I'm pulling it out? Pull out a little. And don't make it all the same, right? I think sometimes as humans, we want to make patterns. So we want to make things all the same, but plants don't bother with that. So a fun tip that you can do is make sure that your darkening isn't totally uniform. I'm going to load up the black now into the brush. Still haven't rinsed. And I'm going to just make a nice little deep line. Right there. Isn't that fun?
Oh, yeah. Sure
All it took. All it was. A little fun. A little fun. And I'm rinsing that brush out, because acrylic paint really, really dries on brushes. Really, really.
Yeah, it does.
I'm going to get my sip of coffee. We're going to evaluate our bamboo. Evaluate. Do you like it? Do you have anything that you want to change? This is the moment. Do you want to... you can always Google bamboo and things on there. If I feel like I might have gotten too much dark. If I do, I just grab this other brush. This is the same kind of thing. It's number 8 bright, but it's a Cambridge. You can always come back and be like, oh no, too much, and just tip it back. See? And what happens there, the reason that I made this change is when I looked in my monitor, it's like stepping back from my canvas. It's important to step back from your art on occasion to give it a gander, because sometimes when we're up on something, we don't see it as clearly. If you can't move away from your canvas, you're sitting down or you're bedridden, you can take a picture with your phone. And if you every once in a while reverse the image or flip it, you'll be able to get the same effect as holding it up in a mirror or stepping back.
Mm. I'm so excited to get into to seeing the panda get painted.
Oh, the panda's a joy. He's so fun to paint.
I like all the little
Do you like all the little
the
pandas?
pandas. They're so cute and
So
fuzzy.
to do the panda, I really like to use the Cambridge Brights. And I'm going to give you lots of ways that you can do this. And of course, you've got your worksheets so you can practice getting these brush strokes with the tools that you have. But this is a mix of bristles and synthetic fibers, so it's going to give me a nice scratchy little effect. I'm also now going to put out my blue. I really like to use kind of blue and black in some animals that have white fur. It's one of my faves. But first, I'm going to get some water on my brush. Switch to some clean water.
We should do a red panda someday.
I can do a red panda.
I
They
like.
are cute.
They're the smallest of the pandas.
They're the smallest of the pandas. Still don't pet it if you see it in the wild. I'm taking my phthalo blue and my black and I'm mixing them together. When you mix the color into this black, you're affecting the hue and you're giving it a slight blue cast, and that can be really lovely. I'll go ahead and put a little white into this mix so it's not just jet black. And we're going to sketch in. Either you're going to follow my blocking video, or right now you're going to just sketch in your little guy. And here's a little tip. I like to come just inside my tracing lines or my sketched in lines so that when I do fur, I have room to fuzz it up. You got to fuzz it up, and you can't fuzz it up if you don't give yourself room to be fluffy.
Now, while you're sketching that in, could you talk about? Tina asked, when do you know when to dry brush?
When do I know when to dry brush?
So like, is that
So I
like?
guess I think of it in slightly different terms. Dry brushing is an option that I feel that I always have. So in my mind, in my artist mind, when I'm looking at a project, I'm assessing, is it smooth? Is it soft? Like, is it very fuzzy? The way a foggy day might be. Or is it crisp? Are the lines hard? What kind of textures are there? And when I see that image, I begin to block out all the skills that I have to create those textures and effects. And then I go into my toolbox and I say, what do I want to use here? So I could actually dry brush a fog in if I was using zinc, but I could also glaze it in. So I look at those two and I think, what of those two effects will I get my best result? I really love on something like a bamboo, dry brushing that or a tree, because I like how that effect works on that particular thing. But there would be other ways to do it, and it's really about the tools in your art box. I hope that makes sense. That's my thinking anyway. I wish I could tell there's like a hard and fast rule, like on Tuesdays, if the sun is down, then you always dry brush. But that's just not how art works. So we don't get those fun little rules that some things have. Like there's no like the Farmer's Almanac. There's certainly some philosophies of art that will sometimes come across like they have rules. Right? Like they'll be like, you should always do something in such a way. But that's probably not completely accurate. Just getting my little knee in. And then I get the little faces in. Let's see, we got a little nose. Dun, dun, dun.
You can paint their little tuxedo on them.
Yeah, well, right now I'm just kind of blocking in where I feel like this little fellow might be. Right?
But no shoes.
So this is what I mean about drawing on a canvas, is that the way that we talk about shapes on a canvas,
Yeah.
right, is very loose because all this paint's going to go there. And
He's very loose. He looks very. I like how he sketched him in there. He looks very cool. Like
yeah,
very
they are
painterly.
cool. They are cool. And so I know he's got a muzzle, so I block that out. And I've got enough of the face over so I can do fuzz. I've given myself some room on the paws so they can be as fluffy as I need them to be. And he's just kind of looks like a Pooh cartoon right now. And that's completely okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the white out of my brush a bit.
Do you know why those pandas don't wear shoes?
I don't know why these pandas don't wear shoes.
Because they have bare feet.
Man, I don't see any of these coming. It is just a problem. So I am adding the blue and black together, and I'm going to come and just start to block in what John just described as his tuxedo, which is a nice way of describing that, his pattern. Now notice I'm like pushing the stroke out, and the way the bristles flick, it creates the fur for me. I really like that. it's one of the reasons why I like this, but we talk about that a little bit on the website if you need to do that further. I really recommend those practice pages if any of these techniques are challenging and you think, well, it would be fun, but today it was hard. Now I'm going to do this thing called scumbling, or, I'm just loosely painting. It leaves brush marks. I'm just filling in this area. I need these kind of painted solid areas so that I can layer on them, because a lot of acrylic painting is about layers. I love his little knee. Scumble.
Well, that last wonderful joke was for Carly Joe. And
Carly Joe got a lot of jokes.
The last barefoot joke there.
Oh.
So I try to make sure I let everybody know which joke I give for them. So
okay.
Thank you guys. We all really, really, really appreciate all your support for St. Jude. So
we do. Honestly, it's going to make a difference. And remember, there are a lot of ways to support a place like St. Jude.
Absolutely.
There's the financial way, and of course that they appreciate that because, it takes a lot of money to cure cancer. And they're gonna. They've done more than any other single organization to treat childhood cancer. But there's also just, following their social media and retweeting their posts and making sure that people stay aware that they're out there. See how I'm doing that like little push and I'm making that little fur. Fur. This is my first layer of the fur. And I got to ellipse his little paw. Because he has a little paw, lip. Got a little paw, lip. And I may even come and, darken that so it feels a little different than the rest of him. But this is just his little paw gripping. I don't even know panda bears can physically do what he's doing. But I did have
challenge one to try.
There was this fabulous photographer who took this picture, and I got permission, the rights to paint it, and so I mean, not that it was this was just a baby panda at the zoo on a tree. I had a moment with my imagination.
On a scale of 1 to 3, how challenging would this be?
If you're using the traceable and use all the worksheet pages, I would actually put it back into a 1 hoot. It could be a 2 hoot if you're brand new to painting. So what I would say is this is very beginner easy. Take time and use the resources for yourself that will help you get through. Straight up, normally before the resources, I would have categorized as a 2. And 1, 2, and 3 are all beginner levels. It's just 3 is a little more advanced for the beginner, like a confident, ready to paint some more challenging technique beginner.
So if they went onto our website and downloaded all the support pages and used
watch those little videos, and they're short, they're not long.
This might be considered a hoot and a half.
A hoot and a half if you did all that. And, if you're getting good results on your practice page, you're ready to fur them up.
Fuzzy bears.
So you can just see how I'm I go push, I'm just making those edges soft by letting them be scratchy.
I think Fonzie was the original fuzzy bear. But I mean, that just
no, I think wasn't it Fozzie on the Muppets? I don't know.
Yeah, he was. Fonzie was a Muppet, but he was a
Fozzie, not Fonzie. Fonzie was a guy on
Fozzie, yeah.
On Happy Days, and Fozzie was a guy that hung out with Kermit.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I pronounced an
I'm just saying, don't mix up the Fonz. Henry Winkler, don't play. He'll come for you.
No, Fozzie. I believe he was.
He's like George the Cat. He'll come for you. I don't know any of them. I don't know what they do. I don't even know what they grocery shop for. I'm just talking. Please don't call them up. Be like, oh my gosh, TheArtSherpa totally started it with you. Because I can't. Okay. So
well, I do know some Muppets, and we do hang out.
That's true.
I have played a set, with different puppets, So.
Have you?
They're, I have puppet friends.
Puppet Muppet friends.
We might visit each other and hang out occasionally. It wasn't just a childhood thing.
All right, I have the blacken on him. So now I know where those basic shapes and colors are, and they're laid in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush. I'm not really going to rinse it out. I'm going to get it into my white, and I'm going to make the first layer. I'll maybe add a little more blue to it because I like it to be slightly blue color. I'm going to add that first layer of the white fur, which you can see is actually almost like a gray blue. And here we go. Just put this in. And the reason that I like to do a darker color under white. That might seem confusing. Why would you paint a blue when you want white? And that's because when you're painting white fur or black fur, you're really dependent on the shadows and the highlights to show what each is. I'm not going to do the nose yet because I'll do the nose with a slightly lighter color than what I have here. But that's when I'm going to be blocking, you know, some more of this in. There we go. You can see I'm just not even, it's important to note that I'm not painting it in neatly at this stage. And that can be really challenging when you're new to art. Like, why wouldn't you paint that in neatly? Sometimes it's just not that necessary in the project. And the rough textures and all of that can actually add to the overall effect of the painting. So that's just a tool that artists have that they can use to tell you things about the world that they're creating. Because, I mean, it's not like it's really here. The cutest panda in the world is not really here. I think this panda needs a name. I don't have a name for this panda.
We do need to come up with a name for him.
Or her. I haven't.
Or her?
I don't know if it's a him or her, and I don't know the name of the panda. And if you'd like to tell me in the comments or in the chat what you think the name of the panda should be, you might end up seeing your name on the webpage of the panda. Just stumble that in. So that's all been pretty mid-pressure. We've got that in. Now right here, I'm going to do a little thing. I'm going to get a little more white onto my brush. And I'm going to come from about the mid-eye, and I'm going to make sure that this is just a little bit lighter than the other grays around. Maybe here and here, again, a bit too. I can darken it back up down here, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm showing this is almost a different space. What I'm trying to talk about, Mr. Fuzzy Pants. Because he is a fuzzy pants, right?
Ooh.
Yes.
They're just, how about Judy for St. Jude?
Judy the panda? Oh my gosh, we don't even need to comment.
That was. I think Gail would just pop.
Judy. Judy for St. Jude. Judy the panda for St. Jude.
That was very nice.
That is very nice. All right. So this has got to dry for a second. I can hair dry. I'm going to have a little sip of coffee. Take a deep breath. If you're painting at home or you're painting in school, wherever you are, take a minute and assess your panda. But while you're assessing it, I want you to look at mine. Yeah, my coffee's warm. I made it molten lava before I came on. Live. So here's something I want you to think about in painting, and it can be one of the hardest things to learn to embrace when you're new. Right now at this stage, he's kind of lopsided. I just kind of generally know where things are. I painted out some of his nose. I've got to refine some of his eyes. I've got things loosely put. He's not a work in perfection. Or Judy, she's not a work in perfection yet. She's not a work in perfection yet. So what I want you to do is when you look back at your painting and assess, I want you to speak kindly to yourself. I want you to practice never being negative about your work at the beginning until you're far enough along in your art skills and your training to look at your work in a detached, subjective, relaxed space. Just don't be critical of your work. It won't help you. If it was going to help you, I would tell you to do it. Instead, try to focus on the things that you did right. Did you get highlights right? Did you do dry brushing really well? What did you do well? Because it's much more important at the beginning that you look, recognize, see the skills that you do really well, so that you can keep those as you work on the skills that you maybe want to refine more. Remember, you got to talk kindly to yourself, as nice as if you were talking to your very best friend. Unless you're that really mean very best friend. Even nicer than that. You know who you are. You're very honest. I don't know you specifically. I'm not speaking to anyone specifically. I'm just saying there are people that are like very, very dry and sarcastic, but they know it, so it's okay.
Sometimes I can be dry and sarcastic.
He knows it. Okay. I have a smaller brush. When you're painting, you can paint your entire painting with one brush, but sometimes it can be nice to change the size of the brush for the type of work and area that you're going to be working. So I'm going to get my brush a little bit wet, drag off the extra water. And I'm going to come in, and I think I'm going to do some stuff like at the nose. I'm going to get some of my white paint, and I'm going to start talking about some of the things that I'm seeing here. Now I've got to make sure that this is coming up here and leaves a nice little thing, and I'll definitely add a little fur to this area. I'm going to brush this up. See, I'm kind of implying a texture like you do. And I'm even going to come right here and maybe imply a little texture into this space. Now, the nose can come around and see that how I'm curving that. And then I'm going to bring it back, pulling it in. I'm using the direction of my brush strokes to talk about this fur. And I'm going to leave a little bit of gray there because I want to be able to talk about that shadow. Bringing this around. I'm going to go like this, and then see how I'm kind of curving? This is going to help you. The curving will help you. That looks pretty nice. So that was helpful. Now, everything doesn't need to be white and everything doesn't need to be gray. You want to have different colors. And so we're going to come here and we're going to just, we don't want white paint. And the reason we don't want white paint when we're doing this type of painting is that we want to leave those white as reflections for later. So I just made sure that there was a little bit of that blue-gray in my paint. And here I am kind of making this little fur. Because we got fur. We have fur. And let's come right underneath here and we'll make sure that there's some fur coming down kind of like in the little chin space. I'm going to press down my brush and work the pigment through it, picking it back up. And I'm going to come around here and make some fur, coming up at the top of the eye and making some fur. So what you're seeing me do is pay attention to the direction that this animal's fur grows to get the effects that I'm looking for. And I've got to play between a couple of things. I've got to play between lights and darks, shadows in the fur, the pattern of the shapes, the pattern of the shapes, and this sort of implied story that I am making up. Notice how that the white is a little bit darker right here under. That's darker than you might have expected, right? Because right here, the fur would be a little bit in shadow. And that's why we're just not doing white fur like right off the bat. But now his face is taking some shape. Her face. See? Problem. And again, you can see me brushing this up. What am I doing? I'm like brushing the direction of the fur, letting my brush do the work to create it. Let the brush work for you. Now, if you're very young and you're a little brush and you're painting somewhere, the materials you have may make this a little bit more challenging. So practice on a sheet of paper to see how you can get the effect with the tools you have. And what I will tell you to encourage you is that I have painted with coffee. So I'll say everything works. You just sometimes have to science it a bit, experiment a bit. So I feel like I've got to bring this side of the face out a little. And then coming around. There we go. Just a little bit, little rounding that out. Even though it's a little bit in perspective, we don't see that because my nose got off balance. I'm going to go ahead and finish the belly, and then I'm going to come up and refine the nose. Don't worry about where your nose is. Notice I'm getting a lighter fur, but it's definitely not white. And I'm going to be making these big strokes. Look at these big strokes. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
That's furry. Fur. It also helps to say fur.
Fur.
Look, they're short little strokes, aren't they? Boop, 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 boop,
Yep.
boop, boop, boop. I got the scruffy brush. I'm doing short strokes.
It's so funny. So there's a glitch in the live system right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. So what ends up happening is like a whole bunch of people get wrenches in front of their names, but only the people in blue are still moderators. But it's just really interesting because like there's a
Everybody got a wrench today. They just
everybody got a
don't
wrench
have
today.
any free chats
Yeah,
or any authority to boot anybody. That seems
it's
kind of mean to YouTube.
well, it was just I think it's an icon glitch, and I'm sure they'll resolve it in time. But I mean,
That's always good news for us YouTubers. I'll tell you something. Whenever you hear YouTubers talking about a glitch, what that actually means is that they've updated the algorithm and it's rolling through the system. And who knows what'll happen?
the most
Sky networks itself out.
the most advanced learning algorithm on the planet was developed, I think, last year,
Uh-huh.
and it was written by another computer.
Oh, boy.
And if it was written last year,
Yeah,
then
then it's probably written its own.
it's already been rewritten and written itself again and again and again.
Well, I'll tell you what, YouTube needs to get that algorithm because this one is just
Well, if I think
a
it's
little trouble learning.
Google, Facebook, U.S. military, China, and Musk are pretty much
The
I
big
think
game people and
yeah,
the algorithm
IBM.
space.
There's some big leaders in that, but I mean like unless you're in the AI game, it's too late.
You can see me wiggling around here, just making it all furry. That's what we did. We made it furry. Fur, 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 fur. It's kind of fuzzy now, right?
Yep. I like the fuzz.
I like the fuzz too. Now, we're going to get some pure black, and then some pure blue. Mix them together so they're just cool and dark. Come along here. And see, I'm just on the edge of my bristles, just flicking out. I don't know why George of the Jungle's in my head right now, but it is. I feel like that's fair. My kids sing random songs at me all the time. And memes. So many memes get sung at me. Ugh.
And
And mine isn't even there anymore. So what's happening?
when did it like I when did it
I just want to point to the guy. When I come around the paw, I
Yeah.
am curving my brush strokes a little bit kind of this way. But when I come around on the top side, I curve them downward. And that helps me talk about the directionality of the fur. I don't know if the camera can see all that work, but your eyeball
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I did not mean to interrupt you. I just thought it was something they would like to know.
Oh, I was gonna say you're not using much water, are you?
I'm still dry brushing.
Okay,
This is all very, very dry brushed.
I'm trying to see if how I so I can adjust some of this stuff.
It's all very, very dry brushed. And the reason that it's dry brushed is that helps imply this fabulous, amazing fur texture. And you want to do that, right? You want to apply this fur texture. So there we go. So again, the brush strokes all go in the direction of the fur, and I curve them. So if I'm coming over the top, I'm curving them towards the center of the paw, and then I come around the bottom and curve them around. And you can see how I needed that extra room for fluffiness. You need to book some room for fluffiness. Take your fluffy seriously. I'm going to come up and do the ears now. So you can see I'm just doing that little push stroke, paying attention. The ears flow from the head kind of outward, head outward. Come here, do the same thing, head outward. Now remember, even when you're dry brushing though, if you're using acrylic, you're going to want to rinse out your brush and dry it every once in a while because the paint can begin to dry on the brush and make it more stick than brush. Just a thing that can happen that you may want to be aware of. I am, again, blue and black. I'm going to come here and I'm going to make sure that I've got a little of this little fluff. Now, this is like a little kind of bean shape or kidney shape, so I really want you to pay attention to that and keep it. Keep that. And then I'm going to come here and do the same thing. It should be a bean shape. And we do want to keep that bean shape when we're doing Mr. Cootie Patooty's face. You kind of want these not to be the same size because they're a little bit in perspective, but to end almost at the same little line on that face across horizontally. They might not be the exact same shape or size, but I can always put my little white fluff back if I lose some, don't worry. So I'm going to rinse out right now. to keep my brush like pretty good. And I'll have to like bring the fluff back to like put that back in perspective. But I have a lot of that fluffy work to do, so I'm not worried about it. I'm going to get a little black on my brush. I'm going to come here and I'm going to come up his nose, make a little downward brush stroke across. And I'm just, can you see this little shape? That's his little nose shape. We're not going to get that all refined until we get our detail brush out. There's a little nose shape. I'm going to bring just a smidge of that center divider down. Just smidge. Come across lightly, not far. Right? Not far. And then I need to leave a little room for the tongue. So you see how I just kind of kiss that out just a smidge. And it's soft because I'm using my scumble brush. You could use a clean brush. You just want to catch the basics of the shape for when you come to do the finishing of the face. Because that leaves you room to get his tongue in. That leaves you room to get all of his stuff in. And you need room to make him cute. He's got to stick his little tongue out or he's not cute. Well, he is cute. She's not cute. Why am I getting... She's not cute. Oh, God, don't let me do it.
I think she's pretty cute.
All right. So see, I'm doing this thing again where I'm curving the stroke towards that center of the paw. Because that's how little furs grow. But it's okay to like make the back of the paw a little furry too. Fur. Stroking down, fur. Wow, you like to say fur. If it wasn't effective, I wouldn't do it. I probably still would. I'm going to go ahead and make the little leg down here very fuzzy. 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 This would be a painting that my mom would be really into. She likes cute fluffy things. She's a fan of this type of cuteness. So again, just paying attention to the directionality of the fur, making little short strokes as you do. And just little short strokes, talking about fur. Fur. I'm getting that. That's going pretty well. Go ahead and do a little bit at the bottom of the paw here. Fur. Brushing all the paw fur forward and still paying attention. Now I might have to dip in water just a titch. And I mean, I just touched the tip of my bristles to the water. Because I don't want very much. I want it to stay a dry brush. It just needed to kind of be loosened because it was drying on the brush. And there's a little bit of fur coming off those little toesies. I'll have to put out more black in a minute. But I'm finishing up this paw right now. You can be like fur. Curving that stroke towards the center of the paw. Short little furtive stroke. Come around, short little furtive strokes. Notice I'm not like pressing in like that, right? That wouldn't make my stroke. If I press in real hard. I'm on the tip of the bristles, right? Tip. Tiptoe. All right. Well, that's pretty good, isn't it? He's like so paying it. Time to sip, evaluate, and congratulate ourselves for doing a good job.
We're really close, aren't we?
We are closer than you think, but not as close as John thinks.
No, I'm liking it.
I love this. It's like my favorite thing. All right, so I'm going to get some of my burnt sienna, and I'll go ahead and add a little of my black to it. This little mixture I have over there. So it's not totally the brightest brown it can be yet when I first lay it in. I'm going to come to the bottom of the paw, and I'm going to make a little U shape. I'm leaving a bit of space here for the fur here, and coming closer to this side because this is a little bit in perspective. There we go. So it's almost like a little heart. Can you guys see the little heart in the pad?
Yeah.
It's just a little heart in his little pad. Get a little more paint on there. Now, my two big toes will be right here. But then I'm going to do one small one and one small one. And that's how I do a panda paw. It's almost like so cute. By the way, you can do this on top of a cupcake. I don't know why I felt compelled to say that, but maybe there's someone who's like, man, what do I do with this cupcake? This. Panda paw. Do it. Call it a collab. Tag me. All right. So I'm going to come and do the same thing, but it's not in perspective, so it looks a little bigger. And it's framed because you can really see it. But same thing with the toes. Kind of do the two bigger ones right here. And then a little bit smaller. See how that goes? And that pretty much works with bear paws. Now I'm going to put out a little more black. So I might take some questions because what I'm going to do now is just make sure that I have good enough coverage. There's a couple of bare spots.
You walked yourself into that, didn't you?
I do. I walked myself into my own jokes. At least I caught it this time. I'm still got a little blue left, so I'm working it into the black. I'm just going to make sure that a couple of these spots on the knee, which just lost their...
Which brush are you using there?
This is still the number 4 Cambridge Bright.
Very cool. Now, the brush stroke direction is important here.
Very. So, like, when I do the reflections, and you'll see this in the finished piece, I will follow the stroke. And so, like, down this side of the leg, I'm stroking, kind of leftward with a curve. But when I'm stroking over the knee, I'm stroking upward right side with a curve. Around the paw, upper left side with a curve curving right, over here. So that's how I'm doing that. And that is an important part of what I got going on. Why is it George of the Jungle today? I don't know. Okay, sippy. And I'm going to get some more detail brushes so I can work the nose and the eyes and a couple of spaces.
And then you do little highlights.
I got to do some highlights. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, this is a number 2 Bright by Ruby Satin. And I'm going to get one of my little details. This is from my TheArtSherpa line of red handle brushes. This is a number 2 Filbert. So I've got this little mix of brushes right here. I'll put these all in the description after so that you can see the exact ones. I'm going to go ahead and go in, and I'm going to dip my brush in a little water. I'm going to come talk about the nose a little bit. I'll put my glasses on so I can see really, really, really well. And this way I can fur it up when I need to. I'm just, exaggerating the shape a bit, adding the second coat. Making sure that I've got a nice divider.
Now, you took some imagination here with this bear.
Oh, this is a very imaginative bear.
Because like, we were just noticing here that her little bare feet are pointing out there.
Yes.
So she's probably sliding down this bamboo.
Yes.
Rather than climbing up it.
Could be.
You're having a little bear slide.
I already got very imaginative putting bamboo with cherry trees. I have no pictures of a bear climbing any bamboo. They're all in zoo trees.
Right.
I guess, and if they're in zoo trees, they must like climbing, because why would they be in the zoo tree if they didn't like climbing? I don't know. They wouldn't be.
This is more of something you might see if you went to, say, Pandaria.
Yes. Or Kung Fu Panda Land. Yes, Kung Fu Panda Land for sure. Now I'm going to get a little of my blue on my brush, and I'm going to come over and get some white. And this is a cool way for me to make a bit of a reflection. I'm going to come to the top of the nose and very carefully make one little reflection. See how this just barely, just a small mark, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you can make another small mark right here. And that's actually as like air is coming in the nostrils. And you can come down here a little bit. Now I'm going to rinse off. Rinse. And touch and see. Make sure your black is dry, because if it's not dry, the next part doesn't work as well as it could. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little of my quinacridone and some white. But I want it to be my dark pink. See how very dark that is? Because I'll need to put a very pink highlight on there. So to get the tongue, I'm going to make sure that there's still kind of that shape of the open lip. See how I'm keeping that shape? And just peeking the smallest amount of little panda tongue peeking out of his little mouth. You could do like a big tongue. I mean, it's your painting and you can't really do it wrong. Never, never, ever feel like, oh, I'm doing my art wrong. It's not how art works.
Mm-hmm.
Art is not that. If you get too much of the pink on, you can always rinse out and come back and like touch up the black, right? Like that's super doable. See how I went? Just touched up the black. Now I've got this beautiful little cute adorableness little pink tongue event happening here. And while I've got that there, I'm going to come get a little bit of my white on the corner of my brush. It's just barely any. Right? It's like a little corner. And let's tap a little bit of that reflection. So I'm going dot, 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 dot. And put a little bit there. You can go ahead and put just on the inside of the blue a little bit there. And just maybe right here coming down, just a little tap. It's just amazing how that works. If your pink is dry enough, now you can get some white and some pink. Make sure whatever brush you're using, if you're using the same brush like I am, is fully free of black paint or you won't get bright colors. I'm just making sure that there's a little bright pink reflection in my little tongue and that it feels pink. Coming back, making sure it's not over messy. See how that brightened that pink up a lot?
Yeah.
And we're just making sure there's enough coats there. Once you have that, the bright enough pink where it feels like the pinkest little pink tongue you've ever seen, you can go ahead and get a little bit of the white. And on the right-hand side of the tongue, just tap a little reflection. If you're really, really into art, those little reflections are the big deal in making something feel like something is wet or real or substantial. In art, unfortunately, there is often a sort of battle between what is termed an illustrator and what is termed a fine artist. And I actually think it's a bunch of ridiculousness. The battle part, the part where you're trying to describe the intention of somebody's artwork and what it's for, I think is fantastic. Like you're saying, this is a craft, right? You're talking about something being utilized in our everyday life. Doesn't make it any less high art. It just means I'm not going to take my Picasso down and eat up dinner on it. But, there are plates that are every bit as high art and painted by master craftsmen out there, and you might eat a dinner on it. So it's about words being about describing things, not about evaluating their worth. So these tricks that you might see more in an illustrator space, it doesn't mean that you don't see them in a fine art space. They're interchangeable. It's just about the intention of your art.
Yeah.
Don't let people get you caught up in their crazy. Just be like, that's just the definition. Don't start, please. Don't start, please. All right, let's refine this face a bit.
Refine this face.
And the belly. Belly. Back into my scruffy brush. I have to put a little blue out. Blue. So happy to be painting a panda today.
Just breathe in and out.
Every once in a while, take a minute to breathe. We hold our breath sometimes when we paint. Don't know why we do it, but we do it.
We hold our breath when we do all sorts of strange things.
It's true. I'm getting my gray mixture, which is, if you guys remember, is your blue and your black. And notice how I'm working that through those bristles. And I'm going to go ahead and get some white onto my brush. I want this to maybe be a little more black than blue. I just want to make sure that I've got right here, across here, yeah, I'm going like this. This will help me make sure that I've got my eyes in later. So that's why I'm paying attention to it. And the other thing that you may want to do, I'm tapping down the center, is a little bit of a shadow here about where he might have a little fur. Now when I come back with my white, that very strange tea is going to be super cool that I have. Might dip in water a little bit. So see, it's like a dry brush, but it doesn't necessarily always bone dry depending on how it's exiting your brush under the canvas. All right, so we've got that. I know where that is. I'm rinsing out. Sometimes these weird things are important. I'm going to start putting on my highlights. So this is really about getting that base color, but mostly white, nearly white, and coming here and like, say like from right here, like I'm going to just pull this up. Maybe, tip into that a little bit. And let's make some little marks as we come up here. See how the little marks are?
Yeah.
And they're going to imply that fur even more. I'm on the edge of my brush. I'm not pressing hard. And I'm following my little fur line. So there's implied line, the directionality of my stroke. There's an implied texture, the roughness of my strokes. It's a visual texture. You can see it, right? And when you look at it, it looks like you think it might feel. That's what we're talking about when we talk about texture. When you hear anyone talk about texture in fine art or illustration or whatever crap, we're really talking about it looks like it would feel. So I'm putting a little bit of a highlight right here. Okay, we're just going a little whiter. And it's amazing how something that didn't seem white, as you layer it up, starts to seem white. So excited. All right, more into that little white. I'm going to come here. I'm going to make sure that the fur goes up a little bit into that shadow area. And then also, I've got to take this back into the eye a bit and round out the muzzle. See how I'm doing?
Yeah.
We're just putting a little fur there because we had to round out the muzzle. That eye's a little bit foreshortened. In perspective, yeah, we're going to be converging lines and widening them to give the appearance that something is disappearing into the distance.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really moving that fur into that center divide. I don't want much of this line left. I just want a hint of it. See? Just a hint of this space still existing there. So when we look at this little face, let me look, we start to see how the fur is going. And we see it.
The fur.
The fur is on the panda. I'm going to get just like a lot of white.
I'm super excited to see the eyes come in.
Oh, the eyes are so much fun. This is just my bright, bright white right here. No color in it. And I'm adding that little tidbit to the mix as we're coming around. Now, on the little muzzle here, I'm going to load up on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to come right underneath here and bring out that little fur as well. And a little bit right here. I think it's fun to do under the chin, and I do want a light color. I don't maybe want my brightest white, so I got a little bit of my fur color back into my very light white mix, and I'll come underneath here, and I'm going to put my lightest, strongest fur right here where light might touch it. And then come here. I'm leaving some of my little shadow fur there. Shadow. Right here, I'll still put brush strokes, but maybe they're more open and they show more of the shadow that's still going on. Right there, because we want to show that there's a little bit of shadow here and a little bit under the eye. Let's leave a little of that, right? And I'm doing that by keeping my brush stroke light, and I'm not using my brightest white. And I'm opening it up, putting those more far apart. The distance between brush strokes can impact how the color appears on the canvas.
Yeah.
How's he looking?
Oh, so good.
So fluffy. And let's give you some fluff right here. And right there, right here. Everywhere for you. You should have a little shadow there. So to make that shadow seem more real, I'll get some just white. See how I just got pure white right there?
Yeah.
If I come and add just some pure white right here, that helps make it feel like certain things have more of a shadow. Like you have. And I want to add more highlight up there. I'm going to get some just white. Coming around, just white. I'm leaving some of my dark fur. Some of it right there, and then coming and making sure that I've got maybe a little bit into the ear. More white on my brush. Around here. You know, every panda will have a different level of fluff. Just depends on how fluffy you feel today. Not really about him today. It's about you. Seeing how he's looking. Oh, he's got cute face. Now we've got to totally. I gotta just add a little more. Little highlights I like to do though. Fun to highlight your panda and make some areas just brighter and more celebrated. All right, get the white. You might need a little color on this one as you're coming around, and you're going to come in off the back end. Definitely add some of this. Don't take this all the way down because you really want him to have kind of a bum in shadow. Here we go. And that's okay if your white fur gets into, your dark fur a little bit. Now we're going to want this fur to stay in shadow.
Got some bamboo in the trunk.
I've got
I just break you.
It just broke me. All right, I'm loading up more white. See, I'm just creating this highlight on his belly, aren't I? Where maybe some light would catch it. And I'm leaving some of that fur in shadow. And I'm building up those layers and textures. I'm not crossing into here because that slightly darker fur helps that be a shadow. And you know what? We may even come back with like a little black and brown and create a little shadow right under his belly. But before we do that, let's load up our white, come to the outside edge, and make sure that the outside of his little furs here and there are all have some light on them. We want to do that. Make sure that there's the light. Everything in the painting. All right, I'm going to rinse out. And if you want, you can get a little bit of your black on your brush, a little bit, and a little bit of your brown. You want it to be more black than brown. And I'm going to get some white paint. And I'm going to make sure that this just is in shadow right here.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit coming under here. And it's really just, I'm going to get a little more water on there. It's not like a lot. Put this in first. And kind of tap it up the little arm here. I'm going to wipe off the extra paint off my brush, guys, like I'm cleaning it off. But not rinsing. I'm going to come get some of my whiter paint and make a shade, a hue, that kind of blends these two with the white. See how I'm doing? So it still feels like it's part of the fur. Little fur in shadow because it's all tucked up against the, the little bamboo tree. You can say, oh, there's a little bit here. Comes out a bit. So let's see how that's looking. Because you don't want just like a big bloop brown belly, right? And if you're getting that, you just come back into your brush and just blend. Look, I'm blending that white right over. There we go. And then it just is seamless. It's like perfect. You did this very complicated thing and you did it excellently. And I think that is pretty fantastic. Woo!
I dig it.
I'm going to let everyone have a minute to digest what I said. So what have we been doing? We've been layering the fur. We've been using kind of a blue and black mixture to create sort of a blue undertone on the white fur. We have a little brown shadow kind of happening here at his belly. We've really worked the black and blue to work out his little panda dark colors. We've done some refinement on the mouth. The mouth is actually, other than finishing out the fur in his face and his eyes, pretty much done. And we get to do paws, claws, and the reflections on the black fur, which is pretty fantastic. In fact, if you really love the reflection on the black fur, I have a very one hoot kitty face. It's just half the kitty face, and it talks a little bit about how you paint black fur. I did it for Halloween, but it's really an any time of the year painting.
Anytime.
Any time of the year. How are we doing?
Great.
All right.
I'm really digging this. I'm looking forward to the little panda paws coming in.
I'm looking forward to the little panda paws. I'm going to take a little of my burnt sienna and my yellow ochre. And I'm going to come here to the top of the pot. I'm going to make this little kind of crazy highlight. You see my crazy little highlight?
I see the crazy highlight.
Woo, doo, doo. And maybe right here. Just making something so that we can see that these are little pads, Little pads. Now, once I have that, I'm going to get just a lot more burnt sienna on my brush. I'm brushing this nice color there, and I'll make sure I've got that. Yeah, we're layering that very loosely, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm not going like that. I could though, but I'm very, very kind of random in my brush stroke. There we go. Now I'm going to get a little yellow ochre. Add just a touch to that part of the paw. Just a touch to that part of the paw. And let's add a smidge, go an itty bitty bit to the little pads. Those look a lot more like little panda pads, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't like little panda pads?
I certainly like it.
You do. I know you're a big fan of pandas. John plays WoW. He likes panda.
Among other animals, but
I'm loading my brush with my blue, and I'm getting just a smidge of my black. Just a smidge. Small amount. I want it to be mostly blue. I'm going to get a little of my titanium white and see how it creates this sort of very bright blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come here and brush a couple reflections here and there. Maybe a little bit. What you're saying is that the light is hitting the fur, and the blue is the result of that. This blue-black is the result of the light hitting the fur. Let's put in our shadow. See how I added like a little more black and white to that? Made a much darker color, but if I come and get a little of my white into it, doesn't take much for you to start to see the reflection. We're talking about the shape of the pad right now. And see, I'm just being very random. You can always get a little more white if you need to really brighten that. And then you can just go like that. You can even say, oh, right here, there might be a lighter highlight right there.
Mm-hmm.
Could be something right here. We're just talking about the fur lightly. You could go, hey, maybe there's some fur that's in reflection. So see, I'm curving that. That's saying that the paw is wrapped around, and by curving my brush stroke, making these little comma strokes. There's a lot of comma strokes in this painting, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot of commas, a lot of C's. But when you see me do that, what does that do? That shapes the paw. That's what we're doing. We're shaping the paw. Hand paw, done paw, shaped a paw, paw, paw. Right. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is define my foot here. I'm going to come around the pad, and I'm going to very lightly highlight that fur. And then I might highlight a little bit in the paw, and then I'm going to come around and highlight some of the outside. Like there we go. And then I think I'm going to a little more white, a little more black. Make this nice light color. I'm going to come right here and make 2 little reflections there. And maybe we'll just put some little reflections coming down here. Look, it's cute. No, cute, cute.
There's just everybody has a wrench, so it's funny when I look over because it just makes for interesting reading, and there's always interesting side conversations that are going, and so I looked over and Katie says I'm a violinist, and then is there a violin question? Musical support in their.
Well, music and art go very well together.
We do.
Does your panda have beautiful dark fur reflections now?
Yeah.
Should have really delicious ones.
We have lots of. We have a grip of wonderful community. I have to say thank you to all you guys who come in here and hang out. You're awesome.
They are awesome. I'm getting some pure white, John. And I'm going to come in just a couple of places on my panda and do some of these little white highlights. You know, like you would have, bright white here and there, just to talk about shape and form, just a little. It was just something I'm seeing, and I just wanted to make sure that I am doing those things everywhere that I can. Soften that line. There we go. All right. I think we're ready to get into a little brush.
Oh, yeah.
Little brush time, which we talked about earlier. Oh my goodness. So the eyes, they can be a bit of a challenge. It's great if you have the traceable and the eyes are hard. It's okay to use them. Believe it or not, I'm going to start out, I'm going to take my black and my blue together. And if you have it, it's a good idea to pull out your soft bodied paint right now. So this is Golden's Fluid in black and white. Sometimes these are called fluids. Sometimes these are called, if you're wondering what these are just the worksheets on the website. Sometimes these are called fluids. Sometimes they're called soft bodies. And if you're looking for an economy version, the little dollar craft paints are the same viscosity. They're the same fluidity. So there are some options there. And that's one way you can also have some luck taking this blue and black and you add a little white to it, and it'll turn into my gray that I'm going to use on the eye at first. So, and I'll show you, I think I can show you with my chalk. Remember that little line we put in that we hid? Coming from there, there should be an eye here and an eye here. Eyes are in sockets generally parallel from each other across the skull. The eye that's the furthest from us is a little of the tear duct is hidden. And then the far side will see a little bit of the inside lid more. So here I'm making that sort of like seed shape with that, leaving it black in the center, dipping in water, improving my flow if I need to. And I'm going to come try to do the same on the other side. I'm going to come up. Now this is a little more facing us, so we won't see as much of the inner lid. And we'll see a little more of the tear duct and the full eye shape. Now while I've got this, I'm going to put a little of the blue onto my brush and a little of the white. I'm going to come here into the fur. I'll make a little blue reflection up there. And for sure, I'm going to come around this little eye and make a bit of one, right? There we go, coming around, coming around. I'm looking at the reference that I showed you guys at the beginning, so if you're wondering what I'm looking at off camera, that is what I'm looking at. It's a good time to just assess the pattern that you have there. And I'll just use this right now. I'm just going to grab some black onto this brush. This is my number 2 bright. And I'm going to just make sure. See, I'm just using the edge of the brush and I'm still getting that fur effect, aren't I? I'm just having to be a little more careful, but I still get it. So it's not like it has to be like one particular thing. It's just about understanding how your brush makes that mark. I just want to make sure that these little eyes feel like they're fuzzy. If they're not feeling fuzzy, I fuzz them up. Fuzz them up. Making sure we get the little patterny shape here that you want and that we have enforced. All right, looks good, right? Looking good. Now, the center of the eye, first, I'm going to paint a lot of this in with my black, making sure it is just the blackest black. Make sure it's the blackest black in that eye center. All right.
Now, Cinnamon.
Yes.
If in the future,
yes,
Ethan would like to know where is the best place to leave a wish if they'd like to have a wish on the canvas in the future.
So there's a forum on the website for wishes. And there's a group on Facebook, TheArtSherpa Official, and sometimes I catch them from the comment and Twitter. I kind of look for those. If you really, really, really need us to have something, you can write support at TheArtSherpa.com, and John will tell me because he checks those. So I am making, and I'm super happy to do that. So I'm adding my black and my white together to make a very dark gray. And just on some of this, on this back part of this eye, I'm gonna, it's just like a shade lighter than the black. And then I'm gonna add this. So if it's right there in that eye, I have to add it right here on the curve of this eye. I'm leaving a little bit of black right here. Like you do.
Like you do.
Like I do. I'm gonna get more of my blue on here. Blue, 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 blue. And I'm going to come and get a bunch more of my white. And I'm going to come up over the eye a little bit with this lighter color. Can you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit lighter. Maybe a little bit coming here. And do the same right here. Though I find it's easier sometimes for me to stroke towards the right. You may find that, you know, based on your circumstance, it might be easier for you to stroke to the left. It's just everybody's a different panda. We're all not the same panda. Now, on the inside of the eye, I'm going to make a very, very light gray stroke on this side from this corner down. And that's because we actually see a little bit of the inner lid. Get a little of my black right here. I just want to make sure that we can all tell we've got a little bit of that inner lid showing. It's an interesting effect, but it's important if you're trying to do more realistic eyes. I'm going to rinse out, wipe off my brush, and I get my white paint, my white paint. And I put white a couple places. The first place is I put a little reflection here. I go tap, 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 make a couple little lights that are shining in our little fella's eye. Tap this out. I like to come along just a little bit of the inside where the lid is, where the lid meets the eye, and do a little light reflection there. I'm going to put just a smidge of reflection in the tear duct here. I know, it's like a very light one. I'm going to come inside the eye. This is really about being able to get those fine lines, and that's why we practice those before we apply them to our canvas. Because when you get those fine lines, you set yourself up for the success, and you want the success.
The success.
The success, which is whatever it is that you want to just try to leave yourself feeling like after you're, you know, done with your painting. I'm just adding a few more blue highlights at the fur there.
Now you're using some soft body there.
I use soft body, and the soft body, what that does is it helps me get the paint to offload from my brush onto the canvas easier, because sometimes that can be challenging.
And that's why you switched to a soft body for it.
That's why I did.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just making sure we've got a lid here that's showing.
Well, that makes sense.
I have taken, I just want to make sure we can see the lids.
I see the lids.
You have to see the lids. I have to see the lids. I see the lids, and it's not working. There we go. All right, so we've got that. Now we've got some claws to deal with, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
So I like to take my black and my yellow ochre. That's actually the beginning of my claw. And I'm going to add a little water to it to improve the flow. And how I do my claws is I'm going to come to a little paw. These two are my longest ones. Sometimes you can do those first. These are your longest claws. And they curve towards each other. Then the outer claws curve towards their next claw next to them. And that's how I get my claw curve. Let's come here. Pulling that in. Pulling that in. Pulling that in. Pulling that in. And I liked smidging a few off of his little fuzz here, so I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to go claw. Just have a small amount of them showing on the fuzzy paw. They're just peeking. And how I made them look so claw-like is that I did a highlight. And the highlight that I did was with my yellow ochre and a little white. I'm going to get my yellow ochre and a little white. And if you're having trouble seeing it, you can always grab some of your CAD. It'll strengthen that. You're just making a very light highlight for the claw.
The claw.
The claw. And you're going to come and you're going to be like, oh. See how we're doing it?
I do now.
I got my camera down there in time.
Oh, okay. This is what we're doing. We're just adding that little dimensionality to that claw. Maybe in the center of these little fellows. And once I have that in, rinse, rinse, rinse. And I'm going to get just a little white on my brush. And I'm going to add a smidge of that and kind of shape out. See how I'm just kind of shaping that out?
Yeah.
That little highlight to help us see it. Like that they're a little bit shining.
We could all be a little bit shiny.
Because I'm shiny. That sounds like favorite song from Moana.
I like that song.
All right. So there we go. We've got that in. We have one last thing to do. Can anybody guess what our last activity is?
We're going to put some signature on a canvas?
No. We're going to add the last few petals, which make it seem like stuff is blowing in front of our panda.
The add the depth and dimension. That's what
Dimensional petals. So
yeah.
I'm going to come get my brush a little bit wet. I'm going to grab some of my yellow.
You totally tricked me on that.
I did. And some of my cad red. Go ahead and grab a smidge of the white so you can see the pink in the color. And we're going to go ahead and just do those comma strokes.
Oh, yeah.
Like you might do. One of these there. I think it's fun to add these a little bit to him as you're going. Have them cross over him so you can feel that the wind is around him.
Very much so.
And now I'm going to kind of wipe off, like you do. Make it a bunch more white. And I'll make some light petals. There we go. Now I sign.
Oh. She turned out so good.
Judy turned out really good.
Judy turned out fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
You know, let us know that you like Judy, because I think that's actually pretty good. Judy for St. Jude, I think that's actually pretty wonderful.
I think everybody here is just loving that. They're all. I mean, everyone's been very enjoying the name, and we've had a great time chatting. And thank you guys so much for all the support and wonderful chatting and enjoyment. And you know, guys, if you haven't joined us in a live, highly suggest it. A lot of fun.
It really is. And we're going to be live tomorrow painting the seasons tree.
The seasons tree.
Yeah, it's all 4 seasons in one tree.
Ooh.
Which is kind of fun and wonderful.
Wow.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, 5,700. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, if we get to 8, then I have to show my childhood sketches and my college art and a bunch of stuff that I have left over. That should be really interesting. And if we are blessed enough to get to 10, we will show you our wedding video and some stuff from our wedding, like my dress and stuff. Weird stuff. But the point is that we're all working together. I may not be a doctor. I may not be able to cure cancer, but I can help the man or woman that does, or the team. And I feel like it's going to be St. Jude. And I feel like if they do it, that means the world gets it. All of the world, because they release that to everybody. And I think that's the most amazing thing about them. Listen, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.